rolling. Welcome back, community, to the ABC Realty Podcast show, where we talk about all things real estate and all things equity. And today I have a very special guest here with me. I have Osborne Strickland of the Community of Lakes Land Trust and Brokerage, right?
City of
Lakes. Okay. All right.
Realty.
So tell us who you are. Tell us who you are.
I'm Osborne Strickland, and I'm the broker for City of Lakes Community Realty. Mm-hmm. And, you know, as you've indicated, we're kind of a unique real estate company.
Very unique.
So I'll give you a little bit of history behind the real estate brokerage. City of Lakes Community Realty is a subsidiary. It's owned by the City of Lakes Community Land Trust, which is a land trust nonprofit organization, which we'll talk a little bit about.
Okay.
But that's who, you know, started the brokerage, and I'm the broker for it.
So the brokerage then is owned by the land trust,
Yes.
and you are the managing broker.
Yes.
So you run the whole real estate operation.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah, when it comes to sale of properties, yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
Okay. So then the nonprofit land trust does something, and you, as the broker on the real estate side, you do something. So tell us about the synchronicity between.
Well, let's talk about a couple of the affordable housing programs
Yes.
that the City of Lakes Community Land Trust sponsors, so to speak.
Okay.
Okay, so they have two basic programs. One is what they call a HIP program. And
As in, I'm hip.
It's an HIP program, and it
Okay.
stands for Homeownership Education Program. I believe is what the initials stand for. And what that is, it's a grant program. People who qualify for that program are able to receive a certain amount of money, and it can vary from year to year, but I've seen it as high as $56,000.
In a grant.
In a grant. And they use that money to supplement an individual's purchasing power. And so they can then go out on the open market and buy a house.
Anywhere
within the city of Minneapolis.
Oh.
So this particular land trust, their territory, their operating territory, so to speak, is the city of Minneapolis. Now, there are other land trusts out there.
Right.
I mean, there's Homes Within Reach, who operates in a number of the suburbs.
Sure. There's the Rondo Community
Land Trust that operates in the city of St. Paul.
Right.
And there are also land trusts that operate in outstate Minnesota, so to speak.
So there's land trusts in every city.
There are land trusts all over the state.
Okay.
And they are all over the country.
And when you use the term land trust, what do you mean?
Well, what a land trust, the traditional model of a land trust is a nonprofit organization.
Okay.
That retains ownership of land.
Okay.
So it is a way of making real estate affordable for people by taking out the cost of the land.
So if a house is priced at $300,000, the house and the land, and the land is worth $150, and the land stays in the land trust. So if I want to buy that house and I qualify for that land trust program, then I would pay just for the price of the house, which is $150.
That's correct.
So I would have a $300,000 house.
That's right.
For $150.
That's right.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that?
Yeah, that's
Wow.
right. And the example
Wow.
that you just gave is not an unusual example.
Wow.
It's not an unusual example.
Okay.
So that's how the affordability is sort of baked into that concept
Of land trust.
Of land trust.
But then there's HIP, which is something different. It's not the land trust.
Well, the HIP, what that does, that is money to a buyer to help them purchase a home on the open market.
So not a land trust home,
not a
but
land
any
trust.
house.
But once that home is purchased
Mm-hmm.
by this HIP
Using this HIP
participant,
grant.
so to speak, using this HIP grant,
Mm-hmm.
okay,
Mm-hmm.
that house becomes a land trust property.
Okay.
So in the future, when it is resold, okay,
Mm-hmm.
it's sold on an affordable basis.
I see. So the whole concept behind a land trust model is, hey, let's make access to home ownership more affordable to people who otherwise wouldn't be able to afford it.
That's correct.
By reducing the cost of the home by the value of the land.
That's right. By removing the land
Mm-hmm.
from the transaction, the land is actually, ownership of the land is actually held by the nonprofit organization in perpetuity.
In a trust.
In a trust.
Okay.
Yes. In a trust.
Hence land trust. Okay.
Yes. Hence land trust.
Okay. So so you have the land trust, right? And it makes home ownership affordable by removing the cost of land. The land is always owned by the trust. But
Right.
if I buy a land trust home, can I sell it? Can I?
You can. Let me make one other point, is that even though the land is owned by, the ownership of the land is kept in trust for future home owners or future home buyers, the buyer of the property, the house, so to speak, has use of the land the same as any traditional. So if they want to garden on the land, if they want to erect
A fence.
a fence on the land or other structures on the land, such as a garage or a shed, or they want to,
How about an in-ground pool?
theoretically they might be able to do that, but
Okay.
one of the other components is, the land trust will allow capital improvements on the land. So improvements can be made.
Okay.
But the land trust does not want to approve. They don't want the land so improved
Oh, sure.
that it becomes unaffordable for
Right.
future home buyers. So even though technically, I suppose an in-ground pool could be
I see.
put in,
Right.
in reality, that might be a capital improvement that's not approved.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay.
So
All
I
right.
lost track of your other question.
Well, because I'm trying to distinguish between, the City of Lakes Land Trust program as a land trust, right? And then the City of Lakes HIP program.
Okay. So the HIP program is just a way of helping people go out and buy homes on the open market.
Oh.
All right. So the other program that the City of Lakes Community Land Trust has, and by the way, land trusts differ
Yeah.
in the way that
they do.
do things. City of Lakes
Absolutely.
Community Land Trust in the city of Minneapolis is a property developer. In other words, they develop new homes, new construction. They purchase homes and rehab them. They purchase land and
build new
properties, build new properties on those lands, and they sell them directly to homeowners. And usually, what happens with those homes is there's an affordability allowance, so to speak, baked in. So let's say the City of Lakes Community Land Trust built a brand new house that
Okay.
was appraised at $350,000.
Sure.
Okay.
So they bought the land,
They bought
and then
the
they built
land.
a new construction home,
They built a new
and
construction
the
home,
value is
and
$350.
the appraised value is $350,000.
Okay.
They won't sell the home for $350,000. They will sell the home at a much discounted price, owing to the land, and also affordability funds that they may want to contribute
Sure.
in order to bring the price of the house down so that it is affordable.
Wow. So
that's kind of that's another program.
Okay.
That they have.
Where they can put more affordability dollars into a project
Right.
to not only reduce the cost, take the cost of the land out, but also some additional costs out to make it even more affordable.
That's correct.
Wow. So that $350,000 home it's not unrealistic for it to sell for 180.
That's right. Yeah.
Wow. Now, as a buyer, you have to qualify to participate in a land trust model, right?
You do.
Okay.
You do. And there are several criteria, so to speak, that one has to comply with. The big two or three, I would say the big three. One is you have to income qualify.
Okay.
Okay. And
Are they kind of
what
like
that
a
is,
60%
I think it's 80% of
area median?
area median income. Yep. And the City of Lakes Community Realty, in this case, you apply to them, and they will, look at your information. That includes, pay stubs and, bank accounts and tax statements.
Same thing that any lender would look at,
That's
right?
It's primarily the same. So income qualification is one big one.
Okay.
A second requirement is attending an orientation that they put on, because they like for people to kind of understand,
Right.
the program or the process, the land trust model, so that people can make decisions as to whether or not, they really want to participate. The third big one is pre-qualification. So they have to be able to get a mortgage.
Sure. So you still have to be able to qualify for a mortgage.
Still have to be able to qualify for a mortgage. That's right. And they partner with a number of lenders that are able to, from a lending standpoint, participate in the land trust program.
Okay. So land trust financing is pretty specific, and not every lender is partnered with
That's right.
a land trust
Right.
to extend
What
mortgage financing.
buyers do is they basically have to qualify for a conventional mortgage, but because the mortgage is not a Fannie Mae mortgage, there are special arrangements with lenders who desire to participate in the land trust program.
Okay.
So there's anywhere from, and we're not talking about obscure lenders. We're talking,
Sure.
Name
some
brand,
U.S.
big
Bank.
name, U.S. Bank,
Right.
Bremer,
Okay.
Mortgages Unlimited.
Okay. So these are your standard
These are, yes,
players in the marketplace
That's
that
correct.
are providing mortgage financing
right.
to everybody,
Yep.
not just land trust. Okay.
Yep.
Gotcha.
That's correct.
I see. So you have to you can't exceed 80% area median income based on family size, and those numbers are set forth by Housing and Urban Development, HUD.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So if I qualify, then I income qualify by not exceeding the 80% AMI threshold, and then I have to, of course, qualify for a mortgage, right, with my credit and my income
Right.
and debt to income ratios
Right.
and credit score. Okay.
Right.
So
Right.
so it's very,
Right.
very, very much the same as a traditional
Right.
mortgage.
And don't
lending.
forget, they have to attend to organizational orientation.
Okay.
And there's
right.
one other requirement. There are a number of requirements, but one of the other important requirements is homeownership education. They'll have to attend I guess in Minnesota, it's the home stretch course for first-time home
Okay.
buyers.
So through the Homeownership Center in
Homeownership
Minnesota.
Center in Minnesota. Yeah.
All right. And that home stretch course was on our last podcast.
Yes,
We had the
yes.
Homeownership Center here.
Yes.
So they have a lot of resources. All right, so you gotta do the home stretch class. You gotta income qualify. You gotta be able to get a mortgage. And you said that the mortgage that you have to qualify for has to be conventional. They don't partner land trust financing with FHA financing.
No FHAs.
Mm.
No VAs.
Okay. Straight
Because
conventional.
the federal government at this point, some of those federal entities just have not decided to
participate.
Participate. Exactly. I think the land trust organizations would love to participate, but those organizations choose not to partner. Now, What else is interesting about this is, even though one may not be able to get an FHA or a VA, other down payment closing cost programs can be layered on top of any assistance that the community land trusts make available. So some of the standard ones may be Minnesota Housing, startup program.
Yeah.
For the life of me, I can't think of any others, but I'm sure
there's a host of them out there. Sometimes they're through the county, sometimes they're through the city.
NeighborWorks Home Partners has a number of down payment closing cost programs that they administer. I think the big one that comes to mind is the LIFT program.
Right.
There are neighborhood grant programs, and some of these lenders have their own grant programs. All of those assistance type programs can be layered on top of any assistance that the community land trust provides.
So I could access any additional down payment assistance and closing cost assistance monies that may be available to me by way of the land trust or partner organizations.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So for example, let's say that you want to buy a house on the open market in Minneapolis, and you find a house that you want.
So as long as it's in the city proper.
It's in the city.
Okay.
You find a house that you want, and you decide that you want a house that's let's say $275,000.
All right, then that's a not an odd number these days. That's not far from reality. $275,000 purchase price.
If you're participating in the HIP program, let's just use, as I said, the City of Lakes Community Land Trust can provide a range of assistance, I think, tied to their funding.
Sure.
But let's say that, just make it simple, and let's say that if you're participating in the HIP program, you're eligible to receive $50,000. So you're buying out on the open market, okay? The land trust is providing you $50,000.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
So that reduces your mortgage down to what?
$225. Right.
Okay.
If my purchase price is $275 and I get $50,000 through the HIP program, then my purchase price gets reduced down to $225.
It's down to $225.
Right.
And let's say that you also qualify for a LIFT program.
Okay.
That's administered through NeighborWorks Home Partners. Let's say that might be another $15,000.
Wow. So now I'm down.
So now you're down to
210.
210.
Right.
That's right.
Wow.
And let's say that you're in a community. This home is in a community whereby the neighborhood association has some grant funds that they want to make available to people who are purchasing
in that neighborhood.
In that neighborhood. So let's say there's another $5,000 that you might be able to get. So all of a sudden now that $275,000 house is down to $205.
Yeah. Wow. That's incredible.
And so the individual, they will have to qualify for 205.
So or they could use some of that money for their closing costs or for their down payment, because they have to, let's say they have to come to the table with 3% down payment, right? A mortgage loan, a conventional loan requires minimum of 3% down. Could they use some of that money to cover that 3% down payment?
Yes. Frequently, the money that the community land trust provides can be used to satisfy the down payment.
Wow.
And that's really kind of important.
That's huge.
Because as you know, mortgage insurance can come into effect if one doesn't have the right amount of equity invested in the house. So that amount frequently can satisfy that.
Sure, because you're bringing
home equity, because you're bringing
that $50,000 allows you to come in with a 20% down payment.
That's right.
Interest.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so one doesn't have to pay
you could
mortgage
really
insurance.
manipulate this stuff to make it work.
Right.
In various different ways.
Right.
Right. Oh wow.
Right. And some of the other down payment programs can can go towards closing costs.
Mm-hmm.
So,
What does a typical borrower look like? Do you know for land trust?
well,
or for HIP?
it's an affordable housing project with an income qualification. So
Okay.
it's I think
It could be any.
it could be any
It could be any one of
anybody.
you out there,
Yeah,
buyers.
it could be anybody. Who
Wow.
meets those
Right.
income criteria. Yeah.
Right. Right. Wow. Okay. So.
Now there are some
Mhm.
additional caveats.
Mhm.
These homes must be frequently community land trusts require that the buyers owner occupy.
Absolutely.
So we're
Yeah.
not talking
So
about
you can't buy something
investors.
and then yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
right. You can't be
So
an
if you want to buy
investor.
something and say you want to live in it for 5 years
Mhm.
and then rent it out, can't do that.
Right.
You've got
Because
to live
it has to be owner occupied for the life
That is correct.
for the life
There
of
may
that
be
property.
some exceptions.
Mhm.
Let's say somebody
Mhm.
has an assignment
Mhm.
through employment or something like that, out of the country or something like that
Right.
for a while, and
Mhm.
they want to come back. There may be some exceptions that
Oh,
might be
like a military
could
deployment,
be. Yep, that might be a good
or
a good
Mhm.
example of an
or
exception.
they could sell it, right? They could sell it. They can convey it to their children,
They can
right?
they can sell it.
Um,
They can sell it to anybody on the open market as long as that individual, the buyer, the next
Right.
buyer, meets the qualifications of the community land trust at the time of resale.
because when it's resold, it'll be resold as an affordable home,
That's correct.
right? And the same thing will happen all over again,
That's
right?
right.
A
Right.
new buyer will come along
Right.
who qualifies, who meets
Right.
the
Right.
80% area median income qualification, who can qualify for a conventional loan, and who takes the land trust
Mhm.
class, and of
Mhm.
course the home stretch class. So
Right.
the whole thing repeats itself over and over and over again.
and
So the
over.
home stays affordable forever.
Right. That's right.
And when you use the HIP funds to
Mhm.
buy,
Mhm.
you're not buying necessarily a land trust home. You're buying any house in the city of Minneapolis.
Right.
But
home-
using those HIP funds
Right.
will convert that home to
Right.
a
That
land
home is
trust home.
converted to a land trust.
And so
it
then
will
that
be-
home will be affordable forever and ever and
That's
ever and
right.
ever.
That's right.
How many land trust homes do you think there are in Minneapolis? Would you wager that there are?
In excess of 300.
Okay.
I think that the City
Uh-huh.
of Lakes Community
Mm-hmm.
Land Trust, I believe, and incorporated in 2002. So that's
Mhm.
when that organization started, and I believe they have
Mm-hmm.
over 300 homes.
Wow. Wow. So every time one of those homes changes hands again,
Mhm.
the land trust is at the table.
That's correct.
The land trust is at the table.
That's correct. That's part of the closing documents. There's an agreement. I think they refer to it as a
Mhm.
ground lease that
Mhm.
makes the home
Mhm.
or keeps the home in the land trust inventory, so to speak.
So you, as a real estate broker,
Mhm.
all right, the brokerage is an extension, right? It's part of the land trust.
It's a separately incorporated
Okay, gotcha. Entity, right?
entity.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Organization.
Mm-hmm.
And the City of Lakes Community Realty is the listing agent
Okay.
for those homes
That they
that are
develop.
sold directly by
Mm-hmm.
the land trust. In this case, the City of Lakes Community Land Trust.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And people who owners of land trust
Properties.
have the option of going to the City of Lakes Community Realty and have them list their properties, or they can use their own realtors.
Realtor. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So the advantage, you are the expert.
That's the advantage of using the City of Lakes Community Realty. That is
Right.
That's correct.
You are the
because we
expert.
are the
Mhm.
expert in terms of community land trust properties, whether they're sold by City of Lakes Community Land Trust or if they're sold by any other
Right.
community land trust, because we're familiar with the land trust model and their requirements of home buyers as well as home sellers. So that's the
Yeah,
advantage.
right.
And I tend to specialize in community land trust properties. That's my
Your forte.
forte, so to speak. That's
Right.
what I choose to do.
Yeah. I know, I know 100 realtors, and I would say, less than 5 have ever dealt with or come across a land trust property.
Right. I mean, we list and sell properties just like other realtors do.
Right. So regular market rate
Regular market
properties. Yeah.
properties. My clients, for example, include people who want to buy homes out in the country, or they want to, purchase income property, or they want to purchase, in high-end suburbs.
Sure. Sure.
We do it all, but we tend to specialize in affordable housing because that's where we are. It's where our head is at, so to speak.
Right. So tell me, Osborne, about the other part of your operation that you are gearing up for.
Well, this is prior to being a real estate broker for City of Lakes Community Realty. I was involved in homeownership education and counseling.
Right.
Okay, so
that's when we met years ago.
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. You taught my the
sure
real estate
did.
section of my home stretch class.
Right.
That is correct. And I enjoyed that, and I enjoy real estate, but this new endeavor is going to kind of take me back to my roots, so to speak, with respect to education.
Wow.
And counseling, but maybe at a different level. So what we're going to do, what this new project is going to do, is to identify all of the various down payment and closing cost programs in the state of Minnesota that are available to people.
Wow.
Okay, and
Wow.
there are about 67.
Really?
Yes, there are city programs, there are state programs, there are quasi-governmental programs,
And county
there are private
programs.
programs, there are county programs.
Right. How do you track all of that? I mean, how does one?
Well, that will be one of the activities associated with this. We will track them. It's not as difficult as people think, because a lot of these programs don't change.
But they often run out of money.
And
right?
they're
And then
funded. They're
until
refunded
they're-
on a recurring basis. So
Right.
yeah, that is true. I think probably one of the hardest things might be is keeping track of when they run out of
is
money.
when they run out of
But
money.
a lot of them don't run out of money. They're
Okay.
kind of they're perpetual, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of assistance out there that people don't know about,
Right.
that they should know about. This is kind of like this is people sort of how should I put this? This program is set up for people who want to sort of, take their life in their own hands, so to speak. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
It's not to replace professionals or anything like that, mortgage lenders or realtors or counselors or anything like that. But it's basically it's going to augment what they do.
Okay.
Okay? Because
Sure.
people will be armed with information. You know what? I want to buy a house, and I understand that I might be able to get assistance from this program or that program. Do you know about this program? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So we're kind of empowering the people, so to speak.
Exactly.
Okay. And so this website, and later, hopefully, we do plan to make an app. People will know their situation. Okay, because we will tell them or educate them on on the things that lenders are concerned about, such as credit scores and employment and those kinds of criteria, and people can assess their own personal situation. If they are deficient, we will give them resources where to turn to. Let's say somebody determines that their credit score is not high enough to purchase, and all these programs have credit score requirements. So if one is looking for assistance, okay, and they see in the criteria credit score of such and such, and they realize they don't have it, okay, how do I improve my credit score?
Right.
Well, we will identify resources that will tell them where to go to get assistance to improve their credit score.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
In this case, we'll tell them, hey, go to the Minnesota Homeownership Center. They have a whole cadre of counselors,
Right.
in every
Financial
part of the state,
coaches.
financial coaches.
Right.
They have all of this. So, okay, fine. They know
Free.
that. They can identify that. I see this particular program requires homeownership education. Well, they will know where to go to find that. They will know specifically what organizations provide that. And, they can find out, hey, I live in such and such a community. I can go to, this website.
Like I live in this zip code.
Right.
And that the zip code in that county may have money, right? So this sounds like a really good tool even for a realtor who does a lot of work with first-time home buyers. Right.
It is set up for consumers, home buyers, but just as important is for realtors also.
Amen. And lenders.
And lenders.
And lenders, right? It sounds like a great tool that would empower us, as you said, augment how we work already with our buyers and our sellers.
Because realtors are somewhat of a first line professionals, so to speak.
Right.
They know when people want to buy.
Right.
And they sometimes will know the financial condition or the financial situation that a person might fall in. So they would be able to look at this information and say, oh, okay, fine. Well, all right. I would advise you to do this, to do that, to do that. And we can prepare you to purchase a home. So what we want to do is everybody who wants to buy a home, we want them to be able to buy a home. Okay? Yeah. And we don't want anybody to be ignorant because they didn't know anybody.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Or they went to the wrong people.
Sure. Because even as a real estate professional, I don't know, right? When Ramsey County has money or this municipality has money, right? Or if the LIFT program applies, So it to me, it's invaluable. As a tool. Right. To know those things. Even if on a listing, if someone calls me and say, hey, I want you to list my house for sale, well, it would be to my benefit as well as my sellers to be able to identify what programs are available for down payment and closing costs assistance to the buyers that might be looking at that property to buy.
That's right.
Right? So the information, no matter how you look at it, is valuable and necessary. Wow. So this is going to come in the form of a website
and an app. We're going to start off with a website first, and then we're going to refine the information using the website, and then we're going to convert the website to an app. Yeah.
When?
For the website, we're in the process of development, and we expect to launch in January.
Wow.
Yeah, so I will be coming back here.
Oh, amen.
Right? And I will
talk about the newly unveiled.
That's what we will be talking about.
Okay.
And who maybe we'll be able to. Well, I suppose we could demonstrate it through the podcast. There's a way of doing that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We could do a screen
share. We're going
share,
to have calculators too to help people. Mortgage calculators as well as affordability calculators.
So
just all kinds of information.
So for this tool, it's an information tool, right?
Right.
How does a person on the street know that there's this tool that's available? They're going to have to lean on. I mean, is there going to be like marketing? Are you going to market this tool?
We're going to market it through you.
The ABC Realty Podcast.
Yeah, we're going to come on your podcast periodically and continue to market.
Absolutely.
But there will be Yeah, they're going to be YouTube educational sessions.
Oh,
Yes, they're going to be
very cool.
newsletters.
Uh-huh.
You know, they're going to be ways of signing up on the website for people to have additional information. You know, we'll do the normal social media type stuff.
Sure.
You know, we'll incorporate Facebook and LinkedIn and some of those. Yeah. So
Wow.
we will do all of that.
And do you want to say a name yet, or?
Well, the name it's going to be called DP Assist Plus.
DP Assist, Down Payment Assist
Payment
Plus.
Assistance Plus. And what the
I
plus
like it.
stands for is we don't want to just help people purchase homes,
Right.
but we also want to help people keep their homes and improve their homes. So we're going to link other types of services or
Sure.
information. Let's say somebody's having a problem with their mortgage. We're going to link foreclosure
Right.
type
Resources. Sure.
that sort of thing.
So that might take them to the Homeownership Center's
Yes.
foreclosure prevention program.
That is correct. That's exactly
See?
correct.
Yeah.
We're also going to include other types of home improvement programs. You know, there are a lot of organizations, private as well as governmental organizations, that provide home improvement programs at relatively, low cost. So we're going to identify those because, after all, we're talking about affordable housing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And so there are a number of programs out there that make home improvement services available at sort of a discount, but people don't know about them.
No, they don't.
So we're going to have those programs. That's the plus. That's where the plus comes into.
I see. Yeah, that I can see that would be extremely valuable to homeowners, right? Who have some deferred maintenance, right? Some deferred repairs, especially coming out of the 2008 financial crisis. A lot of people that could probably qualify for some of these resources, they lost all their equity if they had any.
Right.
Because they were very likely in those neighborhoods that lost deep amounts of equity. Unlike Crocus Hill or unlike Minnetonka, right? They didn't see the types of loss of equity that a lot of the what we would call first-time homebuyer neighborhoods saw during that crisis. But those values have come back now, and they may not have had equity 2010, 12, 13, 14, 15. Now they have equity. Now they have equity because the values have come back.
Right.
And if they have deferred maintenance or deferred repairs, then this is a very valuable tool to help them identify resources to get those repairs and that deferred maintenance done.
We're also going to have blogs or content, and these are going to be very brief. We're not talking about extended articles and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
But we're going to identify topics, important topics.
Right.
Let's, for an example, what's a down payment? How much does how much of a down payment do people need? That's so we're going to talk about down payment, and we're going to do that in a very concise way.
Okay.
And we're going to include videos,
like a 2-minute video on what is down payment, or a 2-minute video,
both the article and the video.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So that people can pick and choose. So an individual will be able to sit in their living room, wherever it is they want to sit in their car, and they can
be right on their phone.
They can be right on their phone, learning how to buy a house. Yeah,
that's nice. In this day, in this age.
That's right.
Right. To be able to.
I love science fiction. I am a great science fiction buff. Right.
Okay.
And if I can see into the future, it's all about information. You know what I'm saying?
This is true.
It's all about information. So you need to know where to go to find it. So that's what we want to do. We want to, somebody's thinking about buying a house. We want them to be able to go to this site.
Right.
Particularly people who need affordable, people who qualify for affordable housing.
Right.
We're not talking, we're not talking about people who can afford to buy $1 million homes.
Right.
They have access.
Yeah, they have access. They
can
have
buy
resources.
Access. They have access. They
Right.
have resources.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's not a big deal for them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But people who don't have access to those kinds of resources, we want to be able to, provide them with this resource. And it's also a protection against fraud and all those kinds of things.
Sure.
We want people to be able to research information, obtain information on their own without necessarily being coerced or manipulated or taken advantage of. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to make it very easy for them. We're going to make it visual, and we're going to make it relevant. And that's what this new website is all about.
I love it.
That we're launching in January.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I'll be back here in January.
I'm very excited.
I'm really excited about this because I think this is
a tipping point.
This is going to be good.
Right? This is a tipping point.
Yeah. This is going to be good. This is going to be good. What we're going to try to do is to bring the future.
Bring the future to the present.
That's right. To the present.
To the here and the now.
That's right.
I love
That's
it.
right.
I love it. So today, community, we learned about another new tool to help people access affordable housing, and it's called the land trust model. And Osborne Strickland is the broker of the City of Lakes Community Realty, and he is the expert. He and his team are the expert on land trust properties. And many cities have a land trust, right? Have a land trust program. Yes. So ask your realtor or ask your lender, right, about land trusts as a way.
And if realtors want to, contact me and ask me questions, that's fine.
Absolutely.
I'm not going to take their clients.
Yeah,
I mean, we're all about information. We want people, we want. I don't want to be the only one involved in affordable housing and in particular land trust properties. Other realtors need to be as educated and they need to know how they work because it's an option for people. It's a great option for people.
I have a great story. A family that came from Zimbabwe as refugees. Several years ago, came with 5 little babies and nothing else. And they were able to buy a home, right, to get out of a 1-bedroom apartment and into a beautiful 4-corner 2-story home in St. Paul through the Rondo Land Trust program. Yeah. So they raised their kids there, 5 kids, all of them. I think they have 1 left at home, all of them college bound. One is out of college and 2 are in college and 1 is in high school. So just a really beautiful story of a family that needed housing but didn't have 2 wooden nickels right to rub together. And they were able to get from a 1-bedroom apartment to a home where they could raise their children. And now they are, wonderfully educated and contributing to society. And they eventually sold that house, and that's how I met them. They hired me to sell the house, the land trust house, and we did. And then they went on to another home. So, land trust works. Land trust is an amazing model, and it does make it's another tool on the tool belt that makes homeownership affordable. Right? Yeah. So what would you say, Osborne, to your constituents, to your audience about you? Why do they need to know who you are and what you do?
Because if they need affordable housing, I can help them get there.
There you go.
Okay, that's
there you go.
I can help identify resources that they will need to take advantage of in order to get there. if they want to buy a home,
Yes.
we can help them buy a home. All right. City of
Awesome.
Lakes Community Realty has ties to all kinds of resources: education,
Yep.
okay, counseling, down payment
Assistance.
programs, assistance programs. We can put it all together, the whole package,
Wow.
and get
That's
you
impressive.
through it.
That's impressive. That's
And we
impressive.
don't stop until, if you really want to buy a home, we don't stop until you buy a home.
Right. Amen.
And even after that, I have clients, for example, came to me with credit scores that were sub 500.
Less than 500.
Less than 500.
Wow.
Less than, I kid you not, less than 500.
Yeah. It happens.
It took some time for them to get their credit score where they needed to be.
Right. Right.
But they bought a house.
That's wonderful.
Okay, they bought a house, and after 3 years, they've come back to me, and now what they want to buy is income property.
Wow.
Okay,
They're very leveraged.
they want to
Right.
buy.
Wow.
They bought 2-3 years ago. Prices have increased. They got
Yes, they
got a
have,
lot
yeah.
of equity. But they're not taking all the equity out of their house. What they learned through the process of education and that sort of thing, they learned to save. There's a big financial piece associated with attempting to buy a home. And so they came to me with bad habits. Okay. We taught them some
Good habits.
some good habits,
Right.
which they disciplined themselves to, which they applied themselves to.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they made those those positive positive financial
Changes.
changes.
Yeah.
They
Absolutely.
made them a habit,
Yeah.
and they were able to then grow their initial purchases into something
Wow.
else, and now the individuals that I'm thinking of have 2 and 3 properties.
Isn't that amazing? So they're building wealth.
They are
They're
building
they're
wealth.
they're
That
not
was their
only
goal
right.
in the beginning.
Yeah. They're
Yes.
not only
And we taught them how to do
leveraged
it.
through home ownership. Now they're using it to build wealth,
Right.
and that's amazing.
Right.
It's
And
something.
that I'm not the only one that does that.
Right.
Like I say, I come from the position of education. I was involved through another organization with the Minnesota Homeownership Center. So that's where I, learned to counsel and learned to provide homeownership education, and the tools that resource provides through their education and counseling network. All of those people are
yeah.
involved in the same thing.
Right.
Helping people,
Exactly.
not only buy homes, but establishing, good financial habits, which does enable
Right.
them to go on and build greater wealth past, their initial
Purchase.
purchase, their first home purchase.
Isn't that amazing? You can go from being a renter and knowing very little to not only being a homeowner, but being building wealth through
right.
home ownership investment. So
It is possible.
it's
It is
yeah,
possible.
absolutely. You could make $300 million a year and not have 2 wooden nickels to go together
Right.
if you don't have good habits,
That's
if
right,
you don't have
right,
good financial
right.
habits. So that financial literacy and that financial discipline piece is real.
Right.
It's real because you could earn $60,000 a year and have everything you want and need with good financial habits, right?
Yeah.
Which is definitely another topic that we need to come
Right.
back to this table
Right.
and talk about, and that is financial habits.
Right.
Wow, Osborne Strickland, I want to thank you for being with us today.
That is my
Thank
pleasure.
you.
Thank you.
And thank you, community, for another episode of the ABC Realty Podcast. Stay tuned. We'll be back with another interesting episode.
MBC. No relation to NBC.